From Jenna's early run-ins with the law and flashy TV job to Barbara's possibly liberal-leaning politics and her decision to live a low-key life, the Bush twins couldn't be more different. For college, Jenna Bush Hager stayed close to home. She attended the University of Texas at Austin, where she studied English and took courses in creative writing, poetry, and literature. While attending the school, Jenna focused on having a typical college experience and was able to blend in because of the university's size. Aaron Keck, the managing editor of the campus newspaper, told the Plainview Herald in 2004, "I think she is able to hide better because it's such a large campus." However, Jenna's escapades at school didn't go totally unnoticed by the press. In April 2001, she was cited for alcohol possession, fined $51.25, in order to undergo 8 hours of community service and 6 hours of alcohol awareness classes. Then, the following month, she was cited again for using a fake ID to order alcohol. For her second offense, Jenna received a $609 fine, a 1-month driver's license suspension, and 36 additional hours of community service. Instead of staying close to home, Barbara Bush Coyne attended Yale, becoming the 4th generation in her family to attend the Ivy League University. A design lover, Barbara studied architecture and obtained an internship with the designer fashion label Proenza Schooler before switching her major to humanities. Like her mother and sister, Barbara joined the Kappa Alpha Theta sorority and was supposedly a member of Skull and Bones, a secret society for Yale seniors. Barbara was intent on becoming a regular college student, though it wasn't always easy. She enrolled in the fall of 2000 during her father's 10th presidential election campaign. While mentioning Barbara, a former classmate told the Plainview Herald in 2004, "She seems like a lovely person. She's very down to earth, a very grounded and well-rounded person." Hager appeared to shed her party girl image in 2004 when she began dating Henry Hager.
Henry and I met when we were in our 20s.
Okay.
We were very young.
Yeah.
In 2008, she and Hager got married. The couple celebrated their marriage along with 200 close family members and friends at the Bush family ranch in Crawford, Texas. Just ahead of the wedding, the president shared the news on his weekly radio show, saying, "This is a joyous occasion for our family as we celebrate the happy life ahead of Jenna and her husband Henry. It's also a special time for Laura Bush, who this Mother's Day weekend will watch a young woman we raised together walk down the aisle." For her big day, the bride wore a lovely Oscar de la Renta wedding gown and exchanged vows with her husband in a ceremony by the lake. Dinner and dancing followed under the tents. Afterwards, the two lived together in their new townhouse outside of Baltimore. In April 2013, the couple welcomed their first child, a daughter they named Margaret Laura. The couple went on to have 2 more children. Their second daughter, Poppy Louise, was born in August 2015. Then, in August 2019, Jenna gave birth to a son, Henry Harold. Coyne experienced a very different path to marriage and motherhood than her twin sister. Barbara did not meet her future husband until November 2017, when mutual friends set her up with screenwriter and actor Craig Coyne. The two managed to keep their romance quiet until their secret October 2018 wedding at her family's Oceanside compound in Kennebunkport, Maine. 6 months later, the newlyweds celebrated again with a larger, more traditional-style wedding in Texas. Jenna served as Barbara's matron of honor, and Jenna's 2 daughters were the Flower Girls. In September 2021, the couple announced the birth of their first child, a baby girl named Cora Georgia Coyne. On Hoda Kotb's podcast Making Space, Jenna opened up about the sisters' very different paths, saying, "We had a really shared history because we were the same age. So it's interesting how adulthood happens and how I just met Henry and that she didn't meet somebody." Jenna also went on to say how it was disheartening and painful when her sister would be asked over the years why she hadn't yet married and had children.
People, I'm sure many women experienced this, always asked me when I was going to get married.
Hager pursued a career in literacy education, teaching 3rd grade at a Washington, D.C. charter school and then working as a reading specialist in Maryland. She also co-wrote a children's book called Our Great Big Backyard with her mother, former First Lady Laura Bush. Then in 2009, Hager landed an exciting role as a Today Show correspondent and contributor, where she focused primarily on education-themed segments. In a 2010 conversation with People, Jenna had this to say about her foray into broadcast journalism. "I loved the idea that I could tell stories." Jenna was slightly worried about her parents' opinion due to their not-so-positive relationship with the media, but they were ultimately supportive. However, she added, "If they had said, 'You shouldn't do that,' I probably would have done it anyway." In 2019, Hager took her TV career to the next level when she was named Kathy Lee Gifford's permanent replacement alongside Hoda Kotb for the 4th hour of Today. In a 2019 interview with People, Hager said, "To take it to the next level is awe-inducing, and I can't believe it, but it feels organic and it feels right. Which I don't know if I would do it if it didn't. They probably wouldn't have asked me to do it if it didn't, but it feels like the right time for me." Coyne has a very different career than she originally intended. She developed a love of making clothing at age 12 after getting a sewing machine for her birthday. This inspired her to pursue a career in design. However, Barbara became interested in nonprofit work after visiting Africa with her parents, who were launching the President's Emergency Plan for AIDS relief. For Barbara, the trip was life-changing. She told Elle in 2013, "Seeing literally like thousands of people lining the street waiting for drugs that they needed to live, that we had in the United States, was something that was very hard for me to wrap my brain around. The lack of justice in that." She went on to add, "I was much more intrigued thinking about these issues and figuring out ways that you can make sure that that's not the norm. I did believe that you can change so much in the world." After graduation, she worked with pediatric AIDS patients in Europe and Africa. Then in 2009, Barbara co-founded Global Health Corps, or GHC, with her sister and served as president and CEO.
Global Health Corps is a community of young leaders who are passionate and committed and obsessed with solving global health issues.
As president and CEO, Barbara led GHC's Fellows Program, which provided fellowships to individuals interested in performing public health work in America and overseas. In 2018, she transitioned to board chair. While the Bush twins did live close to one another in New York City for some time, Jenna and Barbara have also lived in different states. For example, after getting married, Jenna and husband Henry Hager lived together in Baltimore while he completed business school. Barbara, meanwhile, spent time in Boston for graduate school. During the pandemic, she and husband Craig Coyne stayed with her parents at their massive Texas ranch before welcoming their daughter. During a joint interview with her sister for People, Barbara said, "That's a big step, moving out of your parents' house when you moved back in your 30s, but we're doing it. We thought it would be for a handful of weeks. We didn't anticipate that it would be for the majority of a year, but it's time that we never otherwise would have had." These days, Barbara and Craig reside in New York City with their young daughter. Meanwhile, Jenna, Henry, and their 3 children have since left the city for a quieter suburban life in Connecticut.
We are different in many ways.
Of the 2 Bush sisters, Jenna was always known as the more playful, outgoing one who lived her life in the public eye. She also loves sharing various aspects of her life on social media. Because of her co-hosting job with Today, however, Hager has to keep her political views private, even though she shared them in the past. Additionally, both she and her sister never had an interest in pursuing a career in politics. In a 2010 joint interview with her sister for People, Barbara explained that neither sister is affiliated with any specific political party. This led Jenna to comment, "We're both very independent thinkers." For a 2013 profile on her sister with Elle, Jenna explained, "Our parents raised us to be open-minded. Barbara and I both are not interested in traditional American politics. Ironically, since we come from a political family, we're interested more in policy." Unlike her sister, Barbara Bush Coyne prefers to keep a low profile. It appears she also stays off of social media because she doesn't have a public Twitter or Instagram account. A reporter for Elle, who wrote a profile on Barbara in 2013, shared that those close to her described Barbara as a great storyteller, sarcastic and fun. However, another source added, "Barbara is super private, in such a way that she moves through people a little if she feels like they ask too many questions." Despite this, Barbara has been quite vocal regarding her political views. She told People in 2010, "I don't really label myself as Republican or Democrat." That said, Barbara does seem to have more liberal-leaning views. In 2011, she showed her support for LGBTQ+ rights by participating in a video with the Human Rights Campaign, which promoted the legislation of same-sex marriage in New York. Moreover, in 2013, she shared her support for a future presidential bid from Hillary Clinton, calling her unbelievably accomplished, according to People. In 2016, Barbara was even seen at a Paris fundraising event for Clinton. And in 2017, Barbara showed her support for Planned Parenthood when she gave the keynote speech at a fundraising event for the organization.